I'm going to go through 10 goals I have for this year, for 2020, that are really financially and more mentally oriented to really propel me into a better position by the end of 2020 versus to how I was in 2019. If you're interested in something like that, stick around. So I have a really good one for the first one. Goal number one is to actually track everything. So if you're asking yourself, what do you mean track everything? Track like how many steps I take? No. Track all your incomes and expenses, meaning you have to know where your money is. To keep in mind is that if you don't know where your money is going, you don't know where you're maybe overspending, where you could be saving, where you could be investing, and where you can really start to fix around a financial issue that you're maybe having, because you're saying to yourself, I'm in debt, or I have this credit card debt, or I have this really big car loan, but I really don't know how to really pay it, but you don't really know where your money is anyway. That's an issue. Mint, and you need a budget. I personally use Mint currently, and I think it's really nice. It's a really easy interface to use. You need a budget is, I've heard awesome things. It is a paid service. I'm thinking I'm going to try it out also this year. So I'm not going to go into like an overall endorsement of it, as I've never used it before. I'm also going to be using this year a spreadsheet. Reason being is because I have 2 bank accounts and I really want to see if any different incomes are coming to different places, where I'm putting my money. And because those two, my money really sometimes splits and it's harder for me to see personally. Goal number 2, is to save 30 to 40% of all my regular income. So what do I consider regular income? My day job, which means my paycheck once a month. That's the money that I use for any expenses that are like insurance, if like rent, gas, things that I need, food, things that I need to actually live. I only remove from money from the regular expenses because everything else is so fluctuating. Last year, I actually averaged around 20% of savings from my day job. The plan is to up that by double, hopefully. The plan is to actually divide into a 50-25-25 rule. That 50% will go towards my Roth IRA, 25% will go towards my savings, and 25% will go towards investing. 3, saving 40 to 50% of all my irregular income. So what do I consider irregular income? Anything that comes that I do not expect any bills or real life to depend upon. They fluctuate a lot. Like I do a lot of babysitting and tutoring. So I'm very flexible in both of those areas. And I know that some weeks I have more, some months I have more, some months I have really a lot less. So it is something like, oh, nice. Like none of my expenses are dependent on it. Like it's such a nice, like little bonus. Last year I saved around 30% of that. This year I'm going to be saving hopefully 40 to 50%. On average, around $200 a month. So 100 of that is basically what I'm going to be playing with. So 50% of that is going to go towards a Roth IRA extra. 25% will be going towards my savings, and 25% will be going towards my investment that I'm going to be starting, God willing, this year. Pay out your savings and your investments and whatever as I get paid. I get paid on the 15th of the month, and I right away go and I divide everything up. No questions asked. I pay all my bills. I save everything I need. I invest in everything I need. And then I'm like, oh, what do I have left to buy food, buy all that stuff? And I'm like, oh, I have this much, and then I deal with my month as it comes along. Now that there is savings and now that you have money to look at, now it's the time to actually talk about a Roth IRA, which is one of the most important things every single person in the world should have. Because if you don't think about your retirement, no one will. Okay, you'll come to the end of time and it'll get awkward. My plan is I would hope to be able to max it out, but as it stands on my current income, that seems a little bit more generous than generous. So my idea will hopefully be from now till April to be able to contribute another $1,000 towards my 2019 Roth IRA. You can end contributing to it in April of until basically tax season. And then in the next tax year, in 2020, the plan is to hopefully be able to reach up to $4,000 in my Roth IRA. It would be awesome, and even maxing it out. Now that I've thought about my retirement, I also want to think about my emergency fund. Now, the reason why my Roth IRA is higher than my emergency fund is because I already have a pre-existing emergency fund. It may not be exactly where I need it to be, but it's pretty much there. I currently have around $630 in my emergency fund. And of course, the $1,000 threshold is just around the corner. My idea though for this year is actually to bring that up to a nice $2,000 to really give myself a lot more wiggle room. Even though there is wiggle room, it's just nice. It's a nice cap. My sixth goal actually is investment. So I mentioned it a little bit in my other things when I said how much I was going to be saving, but my investment goals are actually to have a total invested by the end of the year. Hopefully, it's ambitious, but that is a goal, $1,000 to $2,000, because investments are for earlier than retirement, which I think is important because I want to be more financially independent and free earlier in life as well, and just, later in life when I want to stop working completely. So there's going to be a few apps that I'm going to be looking into, and actually a few services. So I'm going to be looking into Robinhood, into Webull, into M1 Finance, Vanguard, and Fidelity. They all have a lot of great benefits. I'm currently with Fidelity for my Roth IRA. I will be looking at everything else to really understand which one is the best for me for a broker for my investments moving forward. So my seventh goal is actually college. For some people, it is like, oh, that's not something I'm doing, or I'm not interested in doing that, or I have already finished that. So for some people, it's going to be paying down college loans. For me, it's saving preemptively to avoid student loans. So I actually finished yesterday. Last night was my last final of the fall semester, and pretty much done. I'm going to be graduating in June, but that's it. I'm done. I'm applying for a master's now because I'm very excited into the field that I want to go into. Now, I want to save around $1,000 before the school year. Now, for some people, they're like, dude, do you know how much master's cost? It's a lot of money. I'm actually from New York, New York City. I've been living there my whole life. There's great colleges in the city that are pretty inexpensive and very high ranked. My hope is to get into one of those and to go to one of those colleges which are much, much cheaper, either living at home or might be actually be renting in the end. And my expenses won't be as high as some other people that are not from the city, especially as you get to know such a big city. You really know the ins and outs of what you need to spend money, what you don't need to spend money. Another thing you need to keep in mind is that I plan to be working during my time in college. There's a lot of time I'm going to be actually in my practicum, it's called, on the field, but there's going to be actually a lot of time that I'm going to have available to myself that I'm going to be working to as well pay. I want to keep my student loan, if possible, under $10,000 for the whole thing. I hopefully can get away with zero is the real goal. My goals I want to give over to everyone else is I think those are just like setting yourself up for retirement, setting yourself up for now, making sure you don't get into credit card debt, making sure if you want to go to college that you're being financially smart about it, and saving your incomes. But I think this one is important to me. Other people might think of it as a goal because they've never even thought of this. Other people might think that, it's something I'm not interested in. But like my number 8 is charity. I don't consider this a goal because I've been doing this my whole life. I think it's just something that comes naturally to me, and I feel like it gives for myself to others, and it's really a development of my character that is something I'm in awe about. Is I give 10% of all of my income to charity. So if someone's like, dude, 10%? Are you crazy? No, not really. I don't really think so. But I don't even do it after I finish my bills and after I finish my expenses and see what I have left over and then give 10%. My paycheck, post-tax, directly 10%. Straight. Like not even pay myself, do anything. I really just go, someone else is in more need and more of difficulties than myself, and you're saying, oh, because you're single, or oh, you don't have a mortgage, oh, you don't have a car payment, or like something a high car payment or something like that. You can do that. So my parents have been doing it their whole lives. They've had all those things. My siblings all do it. We all do it as like a family thing, really. It was like pulled into us. Like we were like, brought up like that I've been doing it since I was like 10 years old. I made $10. I gave $1. It's like, that's it. Like I was pretty simple, straightforward to the point. That's what you do. Number 9 is a goal for people like that everyone should have, is increase your income streams. You cannot be living off of one income stream. It may be a huge income stream, but if that somehow goes away, you are now left in the dust. That ain't pretty. So I currently have around 3 to 4 income streams that are pretty, pretty good. My regular income, any type of my side hustles, they bring in something, right? but I'm trying to get mine up to 5 by the end of 2020, like a solid 5. I think that's where I'm going to be much happier, much more comfortable, because my bills are currently paid from my paycheck, but if that were to go away, I would be left in a real predicament because my other income streams don't really come up to the same point. And that, I think, to me, is a little scary. Last but not least, my 10th goal is not really a goal. It's just this time I'm going to put it out there and I want to be held accountable and I want to hold myself accountable. So right now we're going to talk about it. At the end of the year, I want to get to 1,000 subscribers. I want to really push myself. And that to me means putting out a video every single week. And that I think is important because that means I'm investing into this and I'm investing into helping others. That's something I've been doing my whole life. I find it like one of the best and most enjoyable things is to really help someone else who's in need. And this channel is supposed to be about, for me, is to help people become more financially literate. I remember like in college, I'm like sitting next to someone and I'm like, so I would ask questions sometimes like for like a questionnaire for my class and whatever. And I always somehow made mine about money and like whatever, even though I was a psychology major. And people don't know anything. People are really financially illiterate. And for me, this is an opportunity to help others more on a larger scale. I also want to bring up my Instagram followers in the same exact reason. So I'm currently at 1,000, a little bit more. I'm hoping to bring that up to 2, maybe even 3. That would be crazy and really awesome. And another thing I'm working on is reading a book a week. I think when you learn, you're becoming better. I'm currently reading Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover. It's a pretty good book. I'm not a total cash person, but I think that, of course, it has really good ideas about being disciplined and savings and all that good stuff. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys learned some tips and some ideas for yourself for goals that you want to set right here, right now in 2020 to make yourselves more financially independent and literate and setting yourself up for financial freedom. If you have any questions, leave them down below and tell me what your goals are for this year. I'm really interested. Tell me if there's anything you would want me to focus on in the future moving forward. Thanks, guys.